for this year's PLC, and we are happy to have you with us. This is our informational introductory webinar for the Instructional Coach PLC, and what we'd like to do today is just share with you an overview of what we have planned for the year, and we will try to keep this brief because we know that your time is very valuable, but we wanted to just give you a sense of what to expect and what our plans are for the year. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump in, if I can get my PowerPoint slides to keep up with me. Just a quick tech check, and many of you, I believe, are familiar with the GoToMeeting, the service that we're using, but just a couple notes on that. We have everyone muted right now to minimize background noise, but if you do have a comment or question as we go along with today's session, please feel free to type those into the chat box. Kathy and I will be monitoring that, and we'd be happy to open up the microphones and let you ask your question or share your comment or whatever it is that you would like to share with us or with the group. And in the future, we may use the webinar function on this service, which we've used in the past for our PLCs. We'll let you know on that. It's pretty similar in terms of the interface, but just is able to accommodate more participants. So today's small group allowed us to use this easier session format, so that's what we'll be using. Just a quick sense of all the folks that we've heard from so far who are interested in participating in the PLC. And this, we've had a couple additions to this list even since I put these slides together. We certainly are open to more participants, the more the merrier, and we'd love to have more of your colleagues participating. So if you are in touch with others who are interested and want to find out more, we're recording this session today, and we'll be sharing that. So certainly they're welcome to review that of the session, and they're also welcome to contact me for more information. So not everyone on the roster here is on our call today, but this is everyone that we've heard from so far who is interested in participating. And it's a great group, a lot of different schools represented, as well as a nice mix of math folks, reading folks, overall instructional coaches, and lead teachers and curriculum coordinators. So we're happy to have everyone, and we welcome more participants if you know of folks who are interested in joining us. Just a real brief introduction about NC3T. Most of you are probably familiar with our company. We were formerly known as Meter Consulting, founded by Hans Meter, and we've been doing work with the Bureau of CTE in Pennsylvania for quite a few years. I think we're on our 6th year at this point, hosting a variety of professional learning communities, writing case studies, and other activities like workshops and so forth. But our company now is National Center for College and Career Transitions, or NC3T for short, and we have Hans as our president, and we also now have Brett Pawlowski as our executive vice president, and it's a little bit about both of them and their backgrounds. And for those of you who have not met Kathy Schick or myself in person, we certainly look forward to meeting you and hoping to see you at the November in-person meeting. But here's a little snapshot of what we look like and our contact information. And just a note that for this PLC, I will be the primary point of contact for logistics and general questions and any concerns or comments that you have. Kathy will be the lead on the content and the programming and so forth. But you're certainly welcome to reach out to either one of us at any point in time if you do have questions or feedback or comments. We want to make sure that this is an experience that's beneficial to you and that you get the most out of it. So we're definitely welcoming of feedback and comments. So we encourage you to stay in touch. And we'll talk a little bit more in a few minutes about our Basecamp website, which is another great way for everyone to keep in touch. So as I mentioned, we'll try to keep today's meeting brief, but we wanted to share with you the overall purpose of our PLC for this year, some expectations, a year at a glance, an overview of our meeting schedule, next steps, and how to keep in touch. And with that, I'll turn the microphone over to Kathy and let her talk to you a little bit about the purpose and expectations of our group. Kathy?
Thanks, Jen. Can everyone hear me, or can you hear me, Jen, and then I'll know that everyone else can? Oh, sorry, she just muted herself.
Loud and clear.
Thanks. All right, thanks, everyone. It's a little strange when you do a webinar and everyone is muted because you start talking and feel that perhaps you're just talking to yourself and really no one's out there. So feel free to throw a note in that, or a message in that just says, yes, I'm still alive and listening. As Jen said, we are really excited about this project, and just as a quick reminder, because I think a few people might have logged on while Jen was talking, if you logged on with one name and you're sitting with a colleague or two, would you please just send us the names of everyone that's with you? Or if you logged in with just a first name, and Rob, I'm looking at you. So if you logged in with the first name, or if there's more than one person, we just want to make sure that we track our attendance. So just a quick minute about myself before we get into the purpose. And the only reason I'm going to share this background is because it's relevant to the project. But I'm on leave from LCTI, from Lehigh, Career and Technical Center, and working with NC3T, but I'm on leave as an instructional coach, and I want to give a shout out to Sharon and Elsie from my school. I see you out there. They're still working hard. And so Jennifer asked me to jump on this project with her and help with some of the content, but that certainly does not put me in the driver's seat completely. It's really important to us both that everyone, all the coaches, have input to this project. So let's start. Hi guys, thanks for saying hello. Okay, so let's start with the purpose of this year-long project, and might even extend if it goes really well, and if the governor lets it. I don't know. I'm just making that up. I just know we're all, as teachers, as educators, waiting for the election. So the purpose of this project is to build a CTE coaching community, and you know what that means, to build a community so we can support each other and share and hone coaching skills. I worked in a traditional school, as many of you may have as coaches. I didn't work there as a coach. I worked as a teacher and reading specialist. But working with CTE teachers is a very different experience than working with traditional teachers. And so I think coaching is a very different, there's a different approach. So some of you coaches may be involved with PIC, the Pennsylvania Coaching Initiative. I forget what the exact acronym is. I was there, Sharon was there from LCTI when it started. And at that time it was all, I think I was one of, I think the only CTE coach. So if you're involved in that coaching community, we are, oh thanks Joanne, it's the Pennsylvania Institute for Instructional Coaching. If you're involved in that community, I know that offers a lot of opportunity for you to hone your coaching skills, but this will be more specific to CTE. Okay, do you want to go forward, Jen? Thanks. But there's another really important purpose here, and this is part of the reason why the BCTE and Dr. Burkett is endorsing this project. She would like to have a resource for CTE coaches and teachers to look at lesson plans that have been carefully constructed to clearly integrate CTE instruction with the, I bet you're not surprised to hear, the standards, the math and reading standards. So our purpose is twofold. We want to build a community that hopefully sustains itself, that we all can learn from one another, but we do have an end product, and that is to share some lesson plans, and we'll get into that a little deeper in just a minute. Jen? Thanks. All right, so we have a couple of expectations. Do you want to just populate those all? Thanks, Jen. So first of all, we'd like you to participate in meetings like you're doing right now, and we know that sounds pretty basic, but we've done other PLCs, and as the year goes on, it gets really tough to participate when everything else fills your calendar. So we do hope and expect that you'll participate as much as possible. We are setting up a forum on Basecamp, which we'll talk about in a minute. We have decided not to use SAS and the SAS communities. We did not have great success with that, so we're going to try Basecamp. And then we also would like, and this is the big piece, we also need you to work with one or more teachers and contribute at least one lesson plan, hopefully more than one. And the programs that Dr. Burkett would like us to focus on for this year are on your screen right now. So just take a look at those programs of study and think about who in your building you might work with for this project. Okay? Again, more details to follow. Just a brief overview right now. So now we're going to drill down a little bit deeper. When we ask you to work with a teacher, obviously we know you're probably doing that already, but we'd like you to contribute as an end goal one lesson plan. Now I'm going to just jump back. If any of you were involved in any other BCTE project where they were collecting lesson plans, for example, if you were asked to put lesson plans on SAS, you might recall that you put a needle in your eye because that was easier than putting a lesson, completing a lesson plan on SAS. So we want to make sure that when we ask you to contribute this lesson plan, that the format is really simple, is not going to take you, getting a PhD to figure out how to do it, and that it's simple for your teachers as well, and that way it will also be equally simple for people to use. So when I say contribute a lesson plan, don't panic if you've ever been asked to do that before and it was a nightmare. So the lesson plan will have an obvious integration of math, or I think we have English language standards. I think that should be ELA. Sorry about that. I was an ESL teacher and I think I transposed that or did something. The lesson plan that you contribute should be easily replicated, and by that we mean let's not make it dependent on a particular textbook. Because that, then if someone doesn't have that textbook, they can't use that lesson. And we'll talk more about these as the year goes on. And then this last expectation, we're going to ask you and the teacher, or just you or just the teacher, to put together a very brief, maybe just 2 or 3 slides, a PowerPoint that you can narrate, and if you're not comfortable doing that, we will walk you through it and do the narration for you if need be. But we'd like there to be some explanation of the lesson plan, and we'll talk about that later. There was talk about, should we videotape the lesson plan? Should we have you guys videotape the parts of the lesson? And we're really just trying to keep it doable. So again, we can modify this based on your feedback, but this is where we are right now with the plan. Okay?
Sorry, I'm trying to unmute myself. I just wanted to add on to that, what you see in the starburst here, that will be, and we'll get to this in a second, but the teachers that you're working with will be included and invited to our final session where it will have a PLC-wide share out of those lessons.
Thanks, Jen. And through this whole year, as you're working on a lesson, and I know this might only take you 2 weeks to put together this lesson and so forth, but what we also want to be talking about is, how do you approach a teacher when they want to do a lesson that you don't see the rigor, or you don't see the clear connection to the standard? So we're going to be, embedding behind the scenes on our forum, and when we meet, we're going to be talking about the actual coaching process. So that's sort of the end product will be those lesson plans. Okay, so the other expectation, as I said, is that you get involved with Basecamp. Some of you already have. And Jen, is this when you would like to take us through a walk through Basecamp?
Sure, that's the perfect segue. So bear with me, please, while I break out of the slide mode and pull up Basecamp, which I was pleased to see that many of you have already logged on to Basecamp and taken a look through the Instructional Coach PLC project that we've set up. What you see here is my Basecamp content, which includes a lot of different projects that I'm involved with. But most specifically, for our purposes here today, I will show you the Instructional Coach PLC. And there are a few aspects of this that we think will be beneficial for our group and keeping everyone in touch and facilitating that ongoing dialogue and discussion about other topics, beyond just the lesson plan, and hopefully building that community. Just a quick overview of what we have here. So on Basecamp, we have discussions. So first at the top, project updates. So this will show any new activity that's taken place recently. And you'll see here that we have Robin, Darcy, and Kathy have all commented on something. And this is where you can see if a new document has been posted or what activity has taken place since the last time you had logged on. Scrolling down, there's an area for discussions. And just as an example, I started a discussion just asking everyone to introduce yourself. And we'd ask those of you who have not yet done this, when you do log on, please take a look at this. And what you would do is click on the underlined link that says welcome, please introduce yourself. And that will take you to that discussion. You'll see Bob has written a nice introduction about his background and his work. Kathy commented on that and said welcome. Darcy also shared some information as well as Robin. And when you are on this, conversation, you see my picture appears here, but your picture or an icon, if you haven't uploaded a photo, will appear. And to add your comment or add some information about yourself, you click on the box and just begin typing. Then when you're finished, you click Add Comment. And your comment automatically gets added to the discussion and also will be emailed to anyone who has asked that updates to the site become emailed to them. And that's a setting that you're able to control. So those are discussions. We welcome and encourage you. Oh, go ahead.
Can I just jump in for a second? I just want to say thank you for doing the heavy lifting, because it's really hard to talk and navigate the website and explain things, so thank you for doing that. But when Jen just said that when you post something, it will be emailed to everyone, you do have an option. Let's say I want to reply to Bob, but I don't really want it to go to everyone. You do have an option to reply or to just get that email to Bob. So again, so this is how we really want to encourage communication. There are different options. I think, okay, Jen's showing you right now. So email this comment to people in the project. You can email it to everyone, or you can say, oh, this is really just for Darcy. I want to comment to her privately. Okay? Well, I shouldn't say privately. It will be posted publicly, but she'll be the only one to get an alert that it's been posted. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you, Kathy, for clarifying that. And this is just to let everyone know, this is Basecamp is something relatively new for our team as well. It's a tool that we've been using for about a year to manage our projects and keep in touch and communicate with clients and participants on stakeholders on other projects as well. So we're still learning as we go as well. Okay, so let me back out of there. And so as I was starting to say, you know, we welcome and encourage you to start new discussions. If you have something that you're looking for feedback on, or have a question, or as Kathy said, you know, a sort of a thought of, well, how does everyone else handle this situation, or any suggestions or recommendations for how to deal with this or that, please go ahead and post a new message. And you do that by clicking on Post Message, type the subject, and post your question, and that will give everyone the opportunity to respond to that. So this is, you know, where we really see the value of the informal communication and sharing and building the network. Just to highlight a couple additional things, you can add files, and what you see here is an Excel file of the contacts, the names, emails, and school information for everyone who is participating in the PLC. This is also where when we start asking for folks to share examples of lesson plan templates, this is where you can post these. And contrary to SAS, where you have to go through 10 different crazy steps to post things, to add a file to Basecamp is relatively simple. You click on Add Files, you select the file from your computer, and you click Add File. It's very straightforward and not complex at all. And then finally, there's a section for text documents, and this is where I've, for example, posted a text document with information for all of our upcoming meetings, the dates, the times. We'll put the registration information and so forth in there. This is sort of an informal way of logging information and keeping track of notes and things like that. So that's sort of a quick overview. Kathy, anything else that you wanted to highlight?
I think just the events, the upcoming events will always be here. So if you're not sure when a meeting is, and that might also, you can click on those. So I think if you click, I don't know what you have there yet, Jen, but if you click on the Penn State, just go back once. Oh yeah, okay. So if you click on, we'll have information, you know, what if there's any code or anything for hotel reservations or anything like that. And we'll also send all that out. So you'll be getting emails from Jen and I, traditional emails, and you might also get through your email an alert from Basecamp saying there's a new post or a new to-do list or something like that. And the to-do list will populate. So
right. I didn't show any of those. Correct. Yes. So, is there a way, Kathy, and I'm trying to remember, that each individual can select how they receive emails, whether it's as it happens or in a daily or weekly journal?
I think so. I think when they sign up for Basecamp, they can do that. And
okay, so I think on the top bar where it says Me, you can update your settings. Actually, you see mine. It says My Basecamp Settings, Notifications, and Subscriptions. And this is where you can go in and select email me every time, email me a daily recap. You can customize how frequently you want to be notified about things taking place on Basecamp.
Yeah, so I think that's about it. And I have to say, I think it's really very intuitive. And I do not consider myself highly tech savvy, and there's really not been anything I haven't been able to figure out. And having said that, I think the opportunity for discussion, to post a discussion, is really good. I think we will find this to be much easier than using SAS or just trying to communicate through group emails and so forth.
Great. Before we jump back into the last few slides of our presentation, does anyone have any questions or thoughts or comments on Basecamp or anything that we've talked about thus far? If so, let's see. I'm going to just
not seeing anything.
List. Yeah, just type that in. Or unfortunately, I don't think we have a raise your hand icon on this service today. Okay. Well, maybe when we get to the end of our content, we can open up the microphones and let everyone chat freely. But let me go back to the PowerPoint, and we will start wrapping up.
Okay.
Kathy?
So the schedule for this year looks like this. The live meetings, there's one November 5th, and that's only from 9 to noon. And we apologize if anyone got caught in the mix. The live meeting was actually supposed to be today at Penn State, and there were some issues with BCTE that it just couldn't take place today. So Lee thought it might be a good idea if we tag it on to the integration conference. So our first meeting that's live is November 5th from 9 to noon at the Penn Stater. So since it's only 3 hours, we will have a limited time, obviously, but we're going to hope to get quite a bit accomplished at that meeting, which we'll be posting about what we'd like you to do in preparation for that meeting. And then we have a February 24th meeting at the Penn Stater that will be all day. That's tentative. We're hoping to get confirmation on that date as soon as possible. And then May 5th, I believe, is confirmed. And that is the final meeting, obviously, and that's the one where we invite you to bring the teachers with whom you worked, the 1 or 2 teachers, or not. I mean, that's your call, but they're certainly welcome to come, because that meeting, at least half of that day, we'll be sharing some of the highlights of the lessons, and a lot of opportunity for just talking and sharing, which I know teachers really appreciate. Our virtual meetings are today. Thank you for joining us. January 27th and April 7th. Those times will be announced. What we've done in the past, some of you are very aware of this, when we've had PLCs and there is a major snow cancellation, we try to pick as many of your schools as possible and see who's closed and who's open, and then we decide if half are closed, we postpone or we cancel. So even though it's virtual, if your school is closed and you're in the far north corner of the state and you're the only one and you want to join us from home, please feel free. But if a lot of schools are closed, we will be canceling. And again, we'll announce those times closer to the dates. Oh, and I should say I would expect those to last about 2 hours in the future. All right, so our next steps. If you have not yet done so, please register for the November 5th meeting. We hope you can make it. That will be, again, 9 to noon, and then the conference starts later that day. If you've already registered for that, great. We probably have that information. If you want to confirm with us, feel free. So obviously, we want you to attend that meeting. We will post the agenda soon on Basecamp. And we'd like you, before that meeting, to know which teacher or teachers you'll be working with so that you can tell us the program of studies. We want to kind of gauge and see if there's any gaps that we're missing, that we have no lesson plans being prepared for one particular program of study. And if you would take a look, make sure that you're familiar with the crosswalk for each program of study. And if you'd like us to, we can post some direction on that on Basecamp. And lastly, if you could just kind of have a determination after speaking with that teacher, will this be a lesson that's focused mostly on math or on literacy or both? Again, just so at that meeting we can kind of get a feel for who's doing what and where are our gaps. We'd like you also, as a next step, if you haven't done so already, to accept or join Basecamp. I don't know that you have to accept the invitation. I think you're already joined. Introduce yourself, as you saw Bob did and a few other people did, and we recommend that you bookmark that site so it's easy for you to find. Okay, Jen?
Okay.
Now, here's what we need from you. We would really love to have at the November 5th meeting just two 20-minute overviews. So one for math and one for ELA. Is there anyone who would love to volunteer? Because we'd hate to have to assign it to someone. Wouldn't that be awful, Elsie Bell, if we had to assign it to someone? We'd like someone to volunteer to do a 20-minute overview on the integration and how to, not really how to integrate, but the standards for math and then the standards for literacy. Just like a basic, okay, here's the focus. And then we'd also like we'd like everyone, please, to start thinking about if you know of any lesson plan templates that you've used that are pretty simple, or if you have one in mind you'd like to create, why don't you just post that as a document on Basecamp. I'm going to be posting a couple, and then on November 5th we're going to decide which template, and when I say we, I mean you, all of you, will decide which template will be vetted and used for this project. Oh, Elsie and Sharon, that's so nice. They're going to do the literacy presentation, the 20 minutes. You know, it worked. I called them out and they stepped up to the plate. And Sharon D will do math. We are covered. Okay, I'm not sure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. This is, you know, I told Jen, having been an instructional coach, I said to Jen, and this has to stay confidential, I said, Jen, this is going to be
recorded, Kathy.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're recording. Well, I'll be very politically correct. So we're not going to have any trouble getting input from this group. Coaches want to be involved. They are going to step up, and they did. So thank you so much. Oh, Jen, thanks for reining me in there. Edit our recording. All right. So the next, which standards would you like us to refer to, Robin asked. We want not the let's have a discussion about that, Robin. That's a good question. I'm thinking of the Pennsylvania core standards, the Common Core, which I think in Pennsylvania are called Pennsylvania Core. I've kind of lost track. But certainly the standards for CTE are important as well. But the project, Dr. Burkett wants the project to focus on making sure CTE teachers are aware of the Common Core standards and are implementing them. And by aware and implementing, to the level of rigor that they're designed. Does that, Robin, does that kind of answer the question? Maybe we don't need to discuss that since I know Lee's intent was for the Common Core. Let me know what you think of that, Robin, that answer. Okay, Jen, you want to move on? All right, so we have a couple contact information for us. If you want to check out NC3T, just as a point of interest, we also have a blog there and a newsletter. It is not just for this project. It's not specific to this project, but it might be of interest to you. Our emails are pretty easy. The hardest part will be remembering NC3T. Some people say that's a little mouthful, but our emails are fairly easy. And Hans does have a Twitter feed if you're a Twitter person. And we also have a YouTube channel that has some of last year's PLCs on and so forth. Oh, I see. Sharon's asking, yes, Common Core standard would be the overview for math, Sharon. And I'm talking to Sharon D, not Sharon K. Okay, well, there is another question. So the question is, to be clear, we already use the PA Common Core or the Program of Study CTEXW located on the SOAR website. I'm going to be real, this might sound really ignorant. I'm not sure what XW is. The Program of Study the crosswalk. Oh, that makes sense. Yes, that would be the crosswalk to use. And we'll post that location on Basecamp so that everyone has access to that if you don't already. Any other questions? I know you might have questions that we can't answer right now, but that we can find answers to, or that someone else might be able to answer. Let me ask this. Do I need to clarify the purpose again of this project? I just want to make sure everyone's walking away with a clear understanding. Building community, sharing resources, honing coaching skills from one another, and also having this end goal of lesson plans that you as a coach can then use with your teachers or with new teacher induction or as sort of exemplars when you're doing professional development or anything, just to kind of share with teachers when they say, I don't know what you mean when I'm supposed to integrate standards. That's the goal, is to have some lesson plans that are exemplars. Is that clear? If not, let me know. And any other questions? Oh, I'm so excited that we already have our speakers.
That's great.
So we will make sure that we're in contact with you to, in case you need any handouts done or anything like that. To the people that are going to be speakers, if you need to or want to do a couple PowerPoint slides, feel free to just bring those on a stick or send them to us, and we'll have them on the laptops ready to go. Jen, anything else? I don't see any questions.
I don't think so. Any last comments or questions from anyone on the call today? Okay, well, great. Thanks again for joining us. As I mentioned, we did record today's session, so we'll send out a link once we get that posted. Please feel free to share that with any colleagues who may be interested in joining us, or folks who you know are planning to come to the November 5th event and couldn't participate on today's session, and certainly encourage others to get in contact with us if they want to be involved. And we will connect with you on Basecamp in between now and the November 5th meeting, and certainly via email as well if you have questions or comments for us.
And I just replied to Elsie and Sharon. They asked when the PowerPoint would be needed for the November 5th. So for Sharon D. and for Sharon K. and Elsie, well, I jokingly said November 4th because we trust you. So no need to work too far ahead. Just we know you'll come prepared. All right. It was really nice to get this party started, I guess you could say, right, Jen? And we really look forward to an active group, and we might even be tapping into you on Basecamp. We have other projects that we do with BCTE, and I just know the wealth of information in this group. So if you see something, that we'll let you know if it's not related to this project, but we might be asking you some other questions. So thank you, everyone. We're looking forward to this year together. Let's hope for no snow on November 5th, and whatever our day was in February that we get together, no snow.
Great. Thanks, and we will be back in touch with you soon. Have a great day, everyone.